Hello everybody in ED 7672. This is Dr. Hart, and I'd like to give you all just a general heads up about your postings for, I believe it's UO6D1, your comments and observations about the facilitated session that you're writing about. I am reading through the posts, and generally speaking they're pretty good. However, I do want to give you feedback as a group about doing this activity. One of the main concerns that I have is that I do see folks posting the group effectiveness survey, but I'm not seeing specific enough comments about this facilitated session that are related to the specific criteria in the group effectiveness survey. So for instance, one of the criteria in the group effectiveness survey is belongingness. And does the facilitator, through their practices, create a sense of belonging to the group? Do they encourage people to feel like they really belong to the group and have a sense of loyalty to the group? And there's a scale, as you know, for the group effectiveness survey for that criteria. Now, what I would really like to see in your postings is a rating, and then I'd like to see a paragraph under that rating that describes some specific behaviors that you observed that led to the rating that you gave on that criteria. So if you say, I'm going to give this a 2 on a 5-point scale for belongingness, then give us some examples of some of the behaviors that the facilitator showed or practices that they used that seemed to create a poor sense of belongingness in the group. Similarly, if you give it a 5 on belongingness, then give us some examples of some of the behaviors that the facilitator used that created a high sense of belongingness and loyalty in the group. Now, what this does in citing these specifics and relating them to these specific criteria is that it shows a high level of critical thinking. One of the things about critical thinking that we do is a very high level of critical thinking is called evaluation. And a very important part of evaluation, if you remember, it's the very top of the critical thinking pyramid. One of the things about evaluation is that you take a set of criteria and you apply them to a situation, and then you reach a judgment based on applying that criteria to some judgments about the situation. It was effective, it wasn't effective. In our case, it did create a sense of belongingness, or it did not create a sense of belongingness. It did create a sense of involvement, it did not create a sense of involvement. But you have to offer evidence, examples, to really support what your judgment is. So I've commented to a number of folks that I thought that you offered some good observations, but what I was looking for is specific examples and evidence of why you gave a particular session a high or a low rating. So just a little bit of feedback for everybody. I'd like you to be thinking about that. Thanks again to those of you who have already posted. I've given you some feedback about your postings. The rest of you who have not posted yet, if you would please take this feedback into consideration as you compose your observations and judgments about that facilitated session. And just a heads up that you're going to be asked to do similar things in Unit 7 and Unit 8, where you're going to be asked to describe sessions that you have facilitated, and once again, you're going to be asked to take a group effectiveness survey and apply that survey to the sessions that you've facilitated. So once again, the best way to do that is to give a rating and then give some evidence for why that rating was given. Some examples, some specific behaviors, and so on. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, as always, please post them in the discussions. Thanks.